Hey everyone, so it's Hearth and welcome back to my channel. So on today's video, we're going to be talking about the differences between charms, talismans, and amulets. Now, I get asked about this topic a lot, and it seems as though there's a lot of confusion. So in the last 30 days, I've been researching the difference between a charm, a talisman, and an amulet, and I can understand why so many people are so confused. When you look online and in books, there always seems to be contradicting information, mainly because the terms are now often used interchangeably, but also because different cultures and different traditions will use the same terms to mean completely different things, which can make it really difficult to figure out which term means what. So I'm going to try my best in as concise a way as I can manage. That being said, my videos are usually no shorter than 30 minutes, so concise might not be the right word, to try my best to describe the differences between a charm, a talisman, and an amulet. Now, of course, I'm not going to be able to talk about the way they are used in every tradition and every culture, so I'm going to be focusing on the way that they are typically used within Britain, because that is really where my knowledge falls. Now, even within British witchcraft, not every tradition and every practice is going to use these terms the same. And so I've simply tried to make it as simplistic as I can to try to cover as much as I can, but it's a really, really complicated topic. So I've used books, I've used online resources, and I've also spoken to some of my friends who work with talismans and amulets really, really regularly to see if I can combine all of that into a relatively easy to understand collection of information. And we will see how well we do with this. I have 2 sides of A4 to try to explain this, and fingers crossed, you come out of all of this with a little bit more information. That being said, I do think it's important to remember that British witchcraft is not witchcraft in general. It's only a small part of it, and these terms and these items are going to be used differently around the world that are just outside my knowledge and understanding. So I would always recommend you take the information that you learn here and you build on it. You find information about how that item is used where you're from, because I know that most of my viewers aren't actually in the UK. So take what I give you as information and then see what you can find about your own tradition, your own culture, your own area, to see how things are used differently. So with that being said, let's start with probably the most simplistic, and that is a charm. Now, the term charm is used to describe lots of different things, but within magical practice, it's mainly used to describe either a series of spoken words, also known as a spell or a verbal charm, or, what we're going to be focusing on today, an item that contains significance due to spiritual, religious, or folkloric backgrounds. It's essentially an object that contains power simply because of the belief in it. It's likely you've heard of charms before. 4-leaf clovers, lucky horseshoes, crosses, pentacles. These are all charms because of the significance that is placed on them due to the religious background of the person who uses them or the folkloric belief. These items don't require any additional spell work or ritual for them to contain power because the power is imbued in the items simply by the belief in them. And so you'll often find that even people outside of the magical tradition who don't undertake spell work and ritual will use these objects to either protect themselves from harm or to attract positive things into their life because the sheer belief in that object is enough for it to have significance. And so you'll often find that Christians will wear crosses as a way to protect themselves as well as for the symbolism of that object. You'll also find that people will have horseshoes outside of their houses to offer good fortune and good luck. A charm is an object that holds significance because of the religious, spiritual, or folkloric belief in that object. And charms are found all over the world. They are found everywhere. These are just the few that are really well known in Britain. The idea of lucky horseshoes is seen almost everywhere up until this day. And this is the main thing that sets charms apart from amulets and talismans. A charm innately has its power by the belief in that object, whereas an amulet or a talisman are created to imbue that energy into your life. They are created through spell work and ritual, whereas a charm simply has that energy, it has that power by the sheer belief in it, as well as the folklore and religious traditions that go behind it. So a charm can be both protective and attractive. Now, amulets and talismans are a little bit different in that although the terms are used interchangeably in a lot of cases, an amulet is used for protection, a talisman is used for attraction. So if you would like to protect yourself from harm and you were creating a protective item, you would be creating an amulet. Whereas if you wanted to attract good luck into your life, you would be using and creating a talisman. Now, amulets and talismans are often created from a collection of items that hold significance. They are then imbued with energy through spellwork or ritual and are then either carried or worn or kept in a location to attract that energy or to protect the energy in that space. Now, these items can contain charms, so you will often find that charms are added into amulets and talismans to add extra power into that working. And they are generally also created with items of significance, items that correspond with the intention of that working. So for an amulet, you might want to use something that already holds significance to you. So if you believe that a pentacle is a symbol of protection, you might use a pentacle in that working. You might choose to use an iron pentacle because iron is often used for protective magic against spirits, particularly the Fae. And so if you would like it to be protection against spirits, you might use a pentacle that is made of iron. You may then use a lot of the color black. You might use herbs and items, fragrances, oils, objects that represent protection to you. That item is then imbued with energy through spellwork or ritual and is then often carried on the person to imbue your space with protective energy and protection from harm. Now, these objects may also be added into bags, they may be carried around, they may be placed under objects such as beds and chairs to offer protection to a space, but generally they're often worn, mainly because protection is needed wherever you go, and so amulets are traditionally worn. A talisman, on the other hand, might be created and used slightly differently. Often, you will once again use objects of significance. So for good luck, you may include a charm like a four-leaf clover, as well as herbs and items and colours that may represent good luck. So for me, I would use things like catnip and rose hips. I would use the colour green. And often, a talisman is kept within a place of significance. Now, they can be carried around, but not as frequently as amulets are. Typically, they are placed in a location of significance for the intention of that working. So for instance, if you are wanting a prosperity talisman, you might place that in the upper drawer of your office desk to help attract prosperity through work. If it is designed to amplify lust or romance, you may place that talisman under a bed or in the bedroom for that purpose. If you are trying to imbue positive health, you might keep it in the home wherever you are most likely to be to offer energy into that space. And so although these two terms are often used interchangeably, they are considerably different, and we can find representations of these two ideas all around the world. Amulets and talismans are seen in so many different cultures in so many different ways, and each tradition, each belief system has a slightly different way of doing them. So the main differences between a charm, an amulet, and a talisman. A charm is an item that contains its own innate energy based in the belief and the religious and folkloric background of that object. An amulet is an item that is created through spellwork and ritual to offer protection. This protection may be from spirits, when traveling, from physical harm. There's so many different options, but typically they are worn and typically they are for protection of the self. They may include charms or they may simply include items of significance. A talisman is an object created through spellwork and ritual to attract things in, whether that's good luck, love, money, happiness, peace. They can include charms, but they can simply be created with objects and items of significance, whether that is a particular wood, a particular flower, a particular plant, words of significance, symbols of power. They don't have to include charms and are often made of many different items combined together into a ritual tool, which is then stored around the property in different areas, in different locations, to best imbue that energy into the space. And we can see it a lot all around the world. So many different cultures have their own versions of these 3 items, with different religions, spiritualities, and cultures having significance in different colours, different items, different symbolism depending on the location and the background of that object. In the UK, for example, you will often find talismans and amulets stored within the home in somewhat odd places. They'll be under the door, they will be under the floorboards, they'll be in the wall, sealed behind plaster. Very commonly, they were placed inside chimneys and set into the tiles of a hearth to help offer protection or positivity into that space. Often they'll contain written charms, local plants, animal bones, and oftentimes they scare the living daylights out of the poor person who dug them out of a wall by accident when they were doing renovation work. But we see them all around the world. So it's well worth checking out where you live, your background, your culture, your religion, to see if there's any specific charms, talismans, and amulets that you can find within your tradition, because they're found all around the world in many different forms. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found it at least somewhat useful. I know that this topic can be really convoluted and confusing, so hopefully I did a decent-ish job of condensing it down as best as I can. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to give it a like. It really means so much to me. If you do have any questions, comments, concerns, video ideas, or just want to chit-chat, feel free to put it down in the comment section. If you do enjoy the magical content on this channel or in this video, feel free to hit subscribe. I try my best with magical content every single week. I tried to say that all in one sentence. I should really breathe in the middle of that. A massive thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Your names will be on the end screen in just a moment. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you have a marvellous magical day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Am I like crazy tired even though I have absolutely no reason to be tired? You betcha I am. I don't know what is going on today. I am just so sleepy. Even though I didn't wake up till 11 o'clock this morning, I'm just so tired. Today, well, this week is a manic week. So if I'm a bit all over the place, that is why. We had a bunch of shows that we had booked for 2020 that were cancelled, suddenly require rebooking. So I've gone from having no shows because of 2020 to having all of my shows back-to-back weekends, which is tremendously unfun, and it's chaos, and I want to cry and scream simultaneously. Also, I will probably break out into renditions of Elton John throughout the entirety of this video, because I have had your song stuck in my head for the last week. There was this guy in town who was singing it like a busker, and from that moment on I've had Your Song by Elton John in my head and I can't get rid of it. So that will likely happen, and I guarantee that I will edit every single one of them out of this video. But in the meantime, we have 2 sides, well, kind of a side and a bit of A4 to get through today, so I'm really hoping that I can just do it in one smooth, even, what is the word I'm after? I'm not even sure. I just want to get it done in one take. That would be really great. If I have to edit this for 12 hours, like I've done on previous videos where I've just messed up so many times, I'm editing for like 12 hours, I will be so mad. But I'm hoping I can get it done quick and easy, because I have hundreds of things to make for this weekend's event. Like, so many things. So I really need to do this in one take. Okay. Now, the main 2. What am I doing? I have no idea. So, this is going well. That are designed to add By golly, I can't speak today. Honestly, I feel as though I should just read off the script, because I feel like I'm going bananas tonight. A charm is an item, symbol, or series of words that hold significance in its existence, often due to religious or folkloric beliefs. Genuinely, I write like I talk. Like, I could just let, like, an electronic voice read this and it would basically be the same as me doing this video. That doesn't make any sense, does it? How do I describe that if you believe, I do believe in fairies, I do believe in fairies, I do. That is basically the principle of a charm, and I have no idea how to verbalize that in a way that is going to make sense. This is tonight's dilemma.